And I'm really, really excited about tonight's live. I've talked a lot about it on the group, but we are talking to Jay today. And so many people have contacted me since I started this group, asking me questions about how you can become a professional paid speaker. And Jay is the person to talk to. So Jay can tell you much more about himself and much better than I can. So Jay, over to you. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Woo, can we just clap it in? Can we clap it in? Because I don't get claps anymore. Like, I need this. This is all I've got. This is all I got. I don't need money. I don't need women. I just need a clap. That's all I need. Hi, everybody. Well, Rachel, thank you so much for having me. Loving the work you're doing, bringing the joy and bringing the self-belief to people. And guys, isn't this at a time where we need the most self-belief? We need the most confidence with what's going on. A lot of us feeling frozen. A lot of us are feeling like this. So Rachel, what you're doing and giving people the ability to find their voice and learn how to effectively communicate, especially through this time, and especially we're going to need it as much as we need when we are able to go out and hug people again and kiss people again and touch people again and go back to the new world, as I say. So it's awesome with what you're doing.
Excellent. Thank you. And thank you so much for being here. So there's so much that we can talk about, so much so that we might end up doing two parts to this, tonight being the first and then coming back to it. But to kick us off, Jay, it would be really, I think, nice for the people watching just to get a bit of an understanding about your journey. So how you became a professional speaker.
Sure. Well, I started 17 years ago. I know you're looking at me and going, 17, you look 12. It's the Asian in me. And I'm moisturized. So I started my career as a magician. So actually, that's a lie. I started my career as a professional football player. So that's the real truth. A lot of people don't know that. And then I had to make a decision at 14 actually, do I want to play professional football or do I want to get into entertainment? And I'm glad I took that right move because it's given me the chance to go all around the world and meet so many different people. And I started my career as a magician. I moved on to television hosting. I worked for MTV as a presenter. And then throughout that time, I would add new skill sets to my repertoire. So I would learn stand-up comedy. I'd learn how to produce events. I'd learn how to run a nightclub. But it's always been with people. I've always loved people. People are my passion and people are my purpose. And during every year, I said to my parents, I always wanted to go around the world. And so far, I've been to 30 countries and, meeting different people and understanding cultures. It definitely puts you gives you a different outlook of life. And then you also learn a lot of things. And then in about 2017, I got my visa for America. I really wanted to get to a better place full of opportunities. And I've been here since. And during that time, other than emceeing, I started getting into speaking and learning how to, stand on stages and impact millions with my message. But for a long time, Rachel and everyone listening, I struggled. I struggled for a long time because I didn't have a plan and I didn't know what I wanted to do exactly with like being a speaker or how to get gigs and how to work with agents. And it was really challenging. And you start to question yourself as not even a speaker, as an artist, as a human being. And you start to see other people's lives and why are they getting it and why aren't I getting it? And I'm doing everything I can. I have the best promo work. I speak well. I take people out for lunch. I'm doing everything I'm being told. But, I wanted to give up so many times because it's like, is this it? Like, is this the life? Do we have to struggle for our whole life to finally make it? And I'm like, this can't happen. This can't be. And I said to myself, enough is enough, right? Enough is enough. I have to figure this out. I have to learn how to find my own work. I have to learn how to be my own agent. I have to learn how to take control of my life as a man, as a human, and as a speaker. And since that happened, life has changed. Like life has changed magically for me because I know where I need to go. I know what I need to do. I don't need to do half the things I used to do because I felt like I was being busy or I felt like, hey, that's working. That's not working. And then about a year ago, I've always been coaching people. I've always loved helping people get to the next level of their career. But I was seeing other people struggling, not just speakers, but artists, people who are in control of their own business, their own life. And I just started wanting to help people, wanting to help teach people, hey, there's been this one lane for so many years, and we all get told to go down this lane. But something's not working because I struggle. There's got to be another lane to get to your outcome. And I figured it out. I know what you need to do. And here's my system. Here's what I'm doing. And I've been helping everybody since. Just take control of their speaking life, teach them how to get on more stages, teach them how to charge more money with confidence, and just to sort of go live the life that they want to live as a professional speaker.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think one of the things people really struggle with is the starting point. Like how, I want to be a public speaker, or I've got this gift, or I've got something really special that I want to share. I'm really passionate about it. But I think people really don't know how to get started with it. It's really confusing, and there's lots of different messages out there. And I think people are a bit lost. And I definitely find that in the group. People saying like, how do I do this? How do I get started? How do I get onto big stages?
Yeah, absolutely. And, that's why I can teach this, and I'm so passionate about it, because I was lost for so many years. I'm in the jungle. Right? And a lot of us are in the jungle right now with what's going on. And we have to get out of the jungle, right? Option one, do you do it by yourself? Okay? You probably can figure out. It's going to be really challenging. You're going to stop and start. You're going to cry. You're going to get depressed. Is this for me? I'm maybe not good enough. You question yourself. Option two, you get a map, right? You get a map. Or you get 3 maps, like what I do, or 10. Okay, maybe this one today. Oh, this one's working. Okay, oh no, I'm going to try this one, right? That's not good. That was option 2. Option 3, you get a tour guide. You get someone who's done it before, who's been there, who can tell you everything that you need to do, where you need to go, what you need to say, what's not important, what is important. And you can dabble along the way as well, because, it's always fun to dabble a little bit, but then you always know the right lane, always know the right thing, so you don't feel like this. What am I doing wrong? And the big thing, and I just actually put this today on to my students and to the people I coach on our group and on Instagram. I'm like, I had to go, enough is enough. It's not working. I got to get help. And I've got to lose my ego, and I've got to lose my stubbornness, and I've got to lose I'm a male and I can figure it out all myself. And I need help. And I did that, and that's why I want to help people today, because I know the struggles, and a lot of people get it's not fair, and I know it wasn't fair either. But once you know, it's like you have this magic trick, and you're like, yeah. I can tell you the secret.
And what would you say is one of the biggest barriers? Like, I'm sure that the good thing that you do is you're working with individuals, and I'm sure it's different for different people. But what would you say is one of the biggest barriers that most people face, including yourself, when you were trying?
Trying to figure it out all yourself. like trying to basically solve the puzzle in your own head when you have no clue. Like it's like, I'm in LA, right? And I've got to get to UK, but I can't use a plane to get there. And I'm like, okay, well, I've got to figure this out. How do I do this? Do I do this? Do I do this? Do I try this? This can just it's mentally exhausting. So the biggest thing I had to do was go and invest into someone that's done it before, that I liked, that I got along with, and who could give me the exact tools that I needed. Because trust me, like when I did that, man, I saved 5 years. I remember doing a couple of moves, and I'm like, oh, I shouldn't be actually reaching out to these people, because these people don't care about how I can help them. It's these people. I spent 2 years making cold calls. I spent 2 years trying to go to get meetings with people. I spent 2 years of lunches, and that's just great, Jay. Oh, I made it. I think I'm going somewhere. Different lane, different focus, different tour guide, or the right tour guide. And it's like, I just hit it so much quicker.
Mm-hmm. And so what is it, tell the group about what it is that you do, what it is that you can do to help people.
Yeah, sure. So look, a lot of people now are wanting to get their message out and impact millions. So, what I do is I really give people a step-by-step guide on how to stand on stages, how to make more money, and how to take control of your speaking career. And, you don't have to, a lot of people think with speaking sometimes you have to be like the top of the top to like finally make it. No, remember, speaking, just like with what Rachel, you talk about, like public speaking isn't for thousands. When you speak in front of the public for one person, that's still public speaking. And it's the same thing with speaking. You don't have to be a professional speaker to be on the TEDx stage to be a speaker. You could be a better speaker and make money in your own circles with where you live. So that's the way I do it. And I really feel like at the moment, people really want the hand-holding experience, because as we all know, yes, there are some great resources out there to how to get there, but it's still like the map feeling. Looking at the map, I'm following this, I'm doing this. Well, I'm making content online, and someone said I need to make content and share a motivational piece of advice every day, and that will bring in leads. I'm like, but what are you saying in the message? What time are you putting the message out? Is the message even coming across authentic? Who are people watching this on Instagram? Is it meant to be for Instagram? So like having someone in your corner like that to re-ask you some questions can literally save you years, money, frustration.
Oh, totally. And we had a bit of a chat before we started, and I was saying one of the things that I think is great is because you've done it, being able to be the person holding people's hands through it is fantastic because of all of the experience that you've got. And I'm sure that your clients find that really helpful. But I just want to touch on something, Jay, that you just said, because it's one of the things that to me is so, so important when it comes to public speaking. And as you said, any form of public speaking, like what I'm doing now in my kitchen, like to what somebody's doing in front of, 3,000 people is public speaking. But the key for me is always authenticity. And I just wondered what your thoughts were on that, and also how you achieved that. Because I know I've recently restarted my YouTube channel, and I did a video looking back at myself 8 years ago, and I know I wasn't being authentic. I know I wasn't being authentic. But I wasn't ready to be authentic because I didn't have enough, I just didn't have enough experience, and I wasn't comfortable enough being authentic on camera. And I just wondered what your thoughts were around that, and how you got through that, or how you think people can achieve it.
Yeah, Rachel, that's such a great thing that you bring up right now, because that's an underlying thing for me. In this world, I mean, we're in show business, right? Speaking is sometimes a little bit of show business, and I'm right in Hollywood. I'm in the fake it till you make it scene of the world. But yes, glitz and glamour is important, but what people really truly love is when you can sit in yourself and come from a place from here, right? And the way to get to that place is you've really got to put yourself out there and realize you're not going to die.
Yeah.
The reason we don't want to be upfront and we want to be open and we want to be all more authentic, it's not because we don't want to be, it's because we are afraid that we will get hurt. Because our bodies, as you know this, Rachel, speaking in public speaking, it's the number one fear in the world. Speaking in front of people, the number one fear in the world. I talk about this when I bring people on my team, but like there could be a pile of, not a pile, but there could be a stage with a mic and a tub full of sharks. People would rather jump with the sharks than get on stage. That blows my mind, And then knowing me, it's like, well, why? What is that feeling? What is that thought? It's because they're scared that they're going to die. And that's the same thing why people aren't being upfront, because they feel like they're going to get judged or they're going to get hurt. And that's something like very deep-seated. You have to learn how to really be present to that. And you have to put yourself in positions where you can be a little bit more upfront and go, oh, I didn't die. I'm okay. And then if you get validation from people that, hey, I really loved how you shared that, that even makes you more confident.
Yeah.
So that takes time. And that took me a long time to understand too. I'm coming, from a presenting background, and everything has to be perfect. You can't fault. You film yourself and, if you stutter, I stutter on my S's. So that means I'm going to have to go through my script again and watch my stutter. These days, everybody. Like, people want real. People want a little bit of human. They want
Oh,
that human.
I totally agree. I think people want it, and I think people forgive all sorts of things. And I think for me, it was the same. It was also realizing um, that my job isn't to make sure that everyone likes me, because
Mm,
it's an impossible task. And
mm,
as long as
mm.
I knew what I was saying was true to what I believe and that I was passionate about, then I felt good being myself. But we've got quite a few people watching. So hi, everybody who's watching. But David has just asked a
Welcome.
question on this topic. So I just want to,
Yes,
on this
David, drop it.
authenticity topic. And David's saying, is there a way to speed up the process of feeling authentic?
Yeah, there is. The way I like to coach people when I put them through my program and really handhold them is like, you've got to jump in the deep end, right? It's like you rip off the band-aid.
Mm,
And then what I would always ask you, David, is I would ask, what have you done so far? And what haven't you done so far? And
mm,
what do you think we need to do?
yeah.
I'm a big believer, Rachel, when I get people out of there, and I'm sure you do this as well. Like, I don't like to tell people as much. Want to get them to tell themselves and feel it,
Oh
and
yeah,
then
absolutely.
be there with them and support.
Yeah. And I think as well, for me anyway, in my experience, really the key thing, David, was to just do it more and more and more. Like any opportunity that I had to get that feeling that I used to get, which was, you know, the heart beating slightly faster, not feeling 100% comfortable, a bit panicky before I went on stage or before I did anything on camera. Um, I just I kept doing it more and more and more and more until I started to realize that that was just like I call it, it's like my rudder, the power now that I need to deliver a great performance, stop fearing it. So really for me, it was just doing it again and again and again. But as Jay said, I think one of the things people get confused with when it comes to public speaking is it doesn't have to be at a conference in front of 200 people. It's what we're doing now, and
I love
it's
that. Yeah. Yeah, Rachel, sorry to interrupt. Yeah, you're so correct. You're so true. And one of the other things, and I'm sure you deal with this all the time, Rachel, it's mental blocks. It's language blocks. I can't, I'm not that, I'm not, I'm this. Hey, 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 hey. I'm not, I can't, I can, I am, you know?
oh,
And then giving people that kind of self-belief that, and this is the worst thing too, and I'm the worst. Like, the hardest thing for me, people go, what's the hardest thing for you to do? And I'll tell you, okay, watching myself back on camera. That's very challenging. Even for someone that's got thousands of videos on the internet, just sitting there and watching myself is very challenging because you see the worst, but you have to just be able to sit in that and realize people watching, it's like, you're okay. You're
yeah,
doing amazing. And you have decided that you are wanting to take action and go get help. And hey, I want to be a professional speaker. You don't go from 0 to 100, right?
mm,
That's just not how it works. There's an amazing interview with Steve Aoki, that big DJ, the Japanese guy with the long hair. And I watched it recently, and he was saying, when I first started, there were 4 people, like not even 4 people, but like 2 people in my audience, and I was giving the same energy, and he felt terrible, and he didn't feel he valued and validated, and then it built. And that's the same thing you have to do when you work with Rachel, public speaking, and your confidence in speaking in general. Like, you don't jump to the top. That's not the
mm.
way it works. But
No,
you've got to
exactly.
be put in the hours.
Sorry, Joe, I didn't mean to interrupt you,
No.
but I totally agree with that. And I think also that is a confusion sometimes is people are thinking, well, how can I get to, like, you know, the big stages and the big money? I think it's a journey, and you kind of need it to be a journey because that's where you pick up all the different tips and skills for yourself to be a better public speaker. I think you never want to miss out on that journey. So we've just had
Yeah.
another question as well come in,
Yeah.
Jay. So as
Yeah.
a
Yeah. Yeah.
beginner, how
Yes.
can we start our career in the virtual world? And that is such a good question because we were just chatting before we came live about how everything has changed.
Yes. That's such a great question. Okay, so in regards to that, and without knowing too much about you, I would say first thing you want to do is you want to go out, and Rachel, maybe reframe the question, but is that for like how do I get work, or just even how to get to the virtual stages?
Um, they're asking about starting. Oh, sorry, Noshin. Sorry, I didn't mean they. How rude. Noshin is asking we can start our career. So I'm assuming making money, public
Okay,
speaking in the virtual world.
in the virtual world. Okay, well, for step number one, I'm going to assume you can already speak. You have the product. Too many people want the bells and whistles, and I'm like, well, how about the steak? You're the steak. Does it taste good? If it's bad, you're not. It's going to be challenging for you. So I always look at people like, look who they are, what's their website, what are they selling, what's their product. Okay, great, tick. That's good, great. Now the way to get to the virtual stages. This is what you do. You go and reach out to people who are in your industry. So for example, what do you talk about, right? The fastest way is go give value and look, I'm walking the talk. I did this with Rachel. I reached out to Rachel. Hey, I'd love to share some great strategies and tips on how to be a professional speaker. And Rachel's got a group about public speaking, confidence, taking charge of who you are. That's exactly what you want to do when you want to get on the virtual stages, right? You want to get as many virtual stages as possible. Now, I know you might think, well, I want to be paid straight away with virtual stages. Sure, if that's your only way about it, then you got to think about what experience are you providing? What value are you providing to someone on the virtual stage who's going to pay you? And I will tell you one thing, and I'm very, the way I teach is very like realistic too. Like every speaker is trying this at the moment. Like, of course, because they all want to get the virtual stage as well. So what content, what value are you bringing to the table that no one else can bring? That's going to be your first question, right? But I like to move back a little bit and go, hey, before you try and go, hey, I want the money, go do 15 virtual stages and make your message so amazing that people are like this, right? I'm hosting a few events virtually at the moment, and I'll tell you the one big mistake that a lot of speakers are doing is they think that their message was so impactful on the physical stages, they can copy and paste to the virtual stages. Doesn't work. People's attention spans, like you think people are going to sit for an hour and like this? I know when I'm hosting an event, the first person for me is I've got to make sure everyone is respectful and turns off all the other browsers. I know, Rachel, people like this and they're looking to the side, they're watching YouTube or on the Facebook, oh yeah, they're tuning in, or they turn off their video. If they turn off their video, we know what they're doing someone else.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, so but being understanding of that and realizing, okay, like if you want to get money in the virtual market, great. That's strategy 2. Strategy 1, are you keeping them engaged though? Like keep them engaged, that's your first step. Because if you don't keep them engaged, how are you expecting to get money from them? If they're not engaged, they're like, yeah, I wasn't even listening.
No,
hopefully
definitely.
that cover a few things there.
Absolutely. No, that's great advice. And Noshin, I hope that helped. I think, I totally, agree with everything Jay said there. And it's a difficult time at the moment because a lot of people are trying to do it. And I think the biggest thing that you can do is to just set yourself apart from the masses. And as Jay said, you just want content that sings. You want content that people just are so eager for more. And that takes practice. And so, the same. I'd encourage you to get involved in as many, virtual events as you possibly can.
Yeah, and come to the table too. Like now you got me going a little bit. You come to the table with something. Like don't just send. This is the other thing, Rachel. If I can just share what speakers do wrong. Speakers are doing the same process as every other speaker. They're sending a text message, text, email. Hi, I'm this. Hi, me. Right? Step 1, it's not about you. It's about the other person, right? What are you providing them? So, basically what do you think they would want? Why would they want to listen to you, right? What value are you giving them? Step number 2, don't just send a Facebook message or an email. What did I do with you, Rachel? How did I get your attention?
Send a video.
Send a video. this is my number one thing, which gets me to close 5-figure speaking engagements. Now, it's not, is it that if I just send a video, I'm getting the gig? No, but just think of this logically for a second. Citibank is having their end of year awards party. Citibank Bank, and you know what Citibank, right, is? You know what a bank is, right? They are having their keynote presentation, and they want someone to close out the event. They want someone to really move the people. Great. They put the message out to the agents. We've got 20 grand, right? Budget. So it's not a huge speaker, but it's someone that's good, like, you know, this with whatever, right? All these proposals come in, right? This person, this person, this person. Every email comes in, right? So you've got 5 emails. Trust me, what do you think they're going to what do you think they're going to forward on first to their boss? The one with all the text and the PDF, or, hi name, here's a video, they can go bam. Yeah. Hi everybody, my name is Jay. Hey Citibank, how you doing? Firstly, that gets across, oh my gosh, no one's ever done this before. Point of difference, USP. Second, he's personable, he's fun, he talks in our language. Once again, you're not trying to be me, but just making a video alone. People love that, and they can forward that straight to the decision maker, and he gets at least understanding of who you are. So this is like the number one thing to get people to stand out. That's my sort of point. Like, how do you stand out in this market? Do a video email. Trust me, you will get people going, oh my gosh, that was so personable, and you'll get their attention.
It's so true. And we're like probably sharing the love now, but we're very aligned in the way we're thinking about things and the way we've done things, because that is how, I mean, I don't know, I mean, they've got global shops. Marks and Spencer's is a fashion brand.
Yeah.
That's how I got in with Marks and Spencer's, the exact same thing. I found out the name of the communications director. I did some research about the brand and about what they were struggling with, and in terms of their communications. And I made a video, and it was really personal, and I got a phone call that day. I got invited to go and speak to her, and it was like, and she said to me, do you know how many people contact me on a daily basis? No one has ever done that before. And so, yeah, it's like, it's just trying to not even, a lot of the time you don't see the opportunity, you have to seize it, you have to find it and just go for it.
Yeah. And that's the big thing now. And now, like, this is the reason why I'm working with a lot more people, is because there's a lot of the bar to get into as a speaker is, I wouldn't say it's hard, it's quite easy actually, because I'm a speaker, you know, I can get on stage and speak, you know, and I'm not saying that's great, but it's how are you going to be a point of difference? You know, how are you going to stand out? How are you going to get people to listen to you first?
Mm-hmm. Now, we've had another question come in from Noshina, who's saying, okay, as a host, how can we start up our career? It's not about money, it's about my career, as I just love this thing. So I love doing this idea of being host, MC is what I sometimes call it. How can I get started in that?
Okay, great. So here's the easiest way to get moving. Firstly, you need your website. You need some kind of visual business card. So be clever now. Now I always like to help people and pretend we have all no money. So use Wix, use Squarespace, use these companies that give you the 14-day free trial, right? But it's so small, it's like $100 anywhere. So you want to create your website, you want to create your image. Now, I'm going to assume you have some photos of you already speaking at an event. If you don't, you need to go out and get them, right? If you don't have, let's say you can't go out with the people at the moment, you must have a photo of yourself. Right. And now, if you don't have a photo of yourself, that you got to get that sorted. So there are just some things you need to start off with. But basically, you want to get a website. You're going to want to have a show reel, right? A reel of like how you talk, how you sound, what your style is like, and then literally you can go on Google, right, and search in, as a host, you might search in entertainment agents London, speaking agents London. Right? Because these are the people that are using your services straight away. So that would be the first step. Now, of course, I haven't even looked at your website yet. I haven't looked at your email. I don't know like how you sound, but that's another conversation, but that's probably the first start, you know?
Mhm.
If you
Yeah, no,
reach out and knock on someone's door and, sorry, Rach, I was going to say, if you reach out and knock on someone's door and, hey, I can do this, they're going to be like, great, show me what you have. Here's what
yeah,
I have.
absolutely. And again, I echo that as somebody who produces events, large events. If the client is saying to me, or the idea is we want some professional speakers, that's the first thing I'm looking at as well. I'm looking at show reels. I'm looking at, I need to see the proof. I need to see, you know, what somebody can do. So absolutely. But that's all
Yeah.
stuff as well that, Noshin, that you could do, that you could get hold of, or, you know, work on now is a perfect time if you're in lockdown.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's another tip as well, Rachel. Sometimes people come to me and their blocks are, well, I don't have an event. How am I supposed to film myself at an event? I'm like, okay, this is how you could trick the system a little bit. And this is what a lot of people do to get in the game. Because without having a video, sometimes people, I just don't see them buying you without them seeing something of you, right? So what you can do, and this is what a lot of people do, they go, let's just assume you know what, just go to a room, right? Have the camera here, right? But then the camera's here, but then you're looking at the looking at from this way, and it looks like you're talking to someone, right? And then you're sharing your story. That's a way to like sort of film. It looked like you're speaking to a crowd or an audience, if that makes sense. And then you can put over B-rolls, you can put over photos to enhance that story, because once again, you're selling a story, you're selling you. And as a speaker, that's what we are. We're telling stories. So that's a great way to be able to get a video if you don't have a crowd or if you haven't been given the chance. And here's, if I can just share, Rachel, here's the best way to get a really good crowd. Contact every charity group and say, listen, this is what I do. I would love to come and speak at your next gala ball. We don't have money. Great, I'll do it for free. Oh my gosh, all I ask is I can just film it. Bam, there you go. You got like, looks like you're a $10,000, $20,000 speaker with your show reel, and looks like you've worked on a big crowd. And that's also a great way for someone who wants to, I'm not saying to practice, because you don't want to practice doing that because it's still your image, but it's also a great chance for you to be like, hey, like, how do I get on the big stage, and this is what it's going to feel like. That's a great way to do it.
No, absolutely. I think that's great advice. Now, I feel like we could just talk and talk, but what I'm tempted to do is we've been going like 35 minutes, which has just flown by, and
Okay.
I know more questions will come in after this, which, you know, Jay, it'd be fantastic if you can keep a lookout and answer them. But I'd be really keen to do a part 2.
Yeah, sure.
Taking people's questions that I know will come in, because so many people watch the video afterwards, and I'm sure we're going to get all sorts of questions. So if you're up for that, that would be great.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, we'll go into detail. We'll go into like step-by-step plan of like how you can, like, here's the thing, guys, too. Like, I don't want to just fill you up with confidence and self-belief and like you can do it. I want to give you some tools, like, so that you can, from today or from the next time we speak, it's like, do this, do this, do this, which are going to get you some little wins, which is going to make you feel confident, which is going to get you to the next level.
Cool. Okay, so like Ronnie, you've just asked a question. I'm going to park that for a part 2, because I'd really, really, really like Jay to come back and to have another chat, because it's a question about nerves, and I mean, it's like there are so many things that we could talk about there, Ronnie, that I know would really help. But because you have asked that question, actually, Jay, let me just quickly, what would your advice be to Ronnie? She's saying, how do I turn my nerves into positivity?
So Ronnie, nerves are okay. Nerves keep you on your game. I still get nervous before the events I care about. But the best way to manage this is you just got to jump in the deep end and realize I will be okay.
Perfect. Great advice. That's exactly the kind of thing I'd say. But Ronnie, look out for the next part 2. We'll maybe do a bit more focus on nerves. But for now, Jay, thank you so much. How do people get in contact with you if they want to find out more or they want your help?
Yeah, sure. So guys, go to JJ Corporate. So can we put it on the screen? jjcorporate.com/PRO. Pro.
Cool.
So JJ Corporate, JAY corporate.com/pro. If you guys can see what I do, see who I am, and obviously I'm giving away like free tips, like free moves. All I obviously want to get to know you, name and email, and I'm just going to send you some great stuff.
Brilliant. Okay, well, thank you so much, Jay. Thank you very much, and we'll look forward to doing a part 2. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Bye-bye.
There you go, guys. That was fantastic. I found that was brilliant. I loved that chat, and I'm definitely going to ask Jay to come back for a part 2 because I think that the information and the knowledge that he's sharing is just what so many of you have been asking for. So, as I always say, if you're watching this after the live, please do put any questions below. I'll put Jay's details below as well, so you can get in touch with him if you want to. Continue the conversation with Jay. But for now, thank you so much for watching. It's Friday tomorrow. That's cool. Have a lovely, well, it's nearly end of the evening here in the UK, but have a lovely rest of your day, evening. Have a fantastic weekend, and I look forward to talking to you soon.
Thanks for watching that video. I hope you found it useful. If you did, here's a link to some more. Please do subscribe because I'll be uploading videos weekly.